Now that we created our own custom stock universe, we're going to want to make our first custom stock screen. Go to the Research tab. Under Your Models, click Screens. Under the New drop-down menu, click Stock. Probably the first thing we'll want to do is name this, so it saves our work. Save as, and we're going to call it Value Momentum. All right. Under Stock Universe, we want to find the universe that we just created. Now I have quite a number here. You can scroll through and find it, or if you remember how you named it, R3K 1 billion, R3K 1 billion, 1 million turnover. That's the one I want. Okay. From here, let's just go through some of our settings. Settings, that's our universe. Yes, we're going to leave it. Rules, we'll get back to that in a second. Backtest, let's take out the slippage. Let's set the rebalance for every week. And we're going to test this over the last 5 years. So if we just went ahead and backtested this would just show us, based on the Russell 3000 with our liquidity filters, it would show us the historical performance of just that. So there's the red line, the stocks that passed our liquidity filter. It didn't do overall as good as the S&P 500, but that's not what we're here for. Click on Rules. Now we want to make both a momentum filter and a value filter. So how are we going to do that? Well, there's a few things that we can do. First, we have to decide how are we going to define momentum. So I'm going to decide that it's going to be over the last 13 weeks. I want stocks that are in the top 25% of our investable universe. So of the just under 2,000 stocks that are passing through our universe, I want the top 25% of those stocks. Now there's a rule, and this is one that you're probably going to use a lot, so remember it. It's called Frank, or formula rank. So you pick a formula, and then it's going to rank all the stocks in your universe based on that formula. So here it is here. You can read the full description, which I would encourage you to do. And when you're done, you can click Add or double click it. Now I'm just going to grab here this move, these lines. I'm just going to move it up to the top. So formula rank, Frank, what is the formula? So I'm going to say the close, the current close 0, divided by the close 65 trading days ago, or over the last 13 weeks. I'm going to erase all of this because I don't need it. You can read through, you can define different things. You can sort it saying, is higher better, is lower better. You can operate this formula in a subset of sectors, industries, and yada yada. I'm not going to worry about any of that right now. I just want the simple, the 13-week or over the last 65 days, the most recent close versus that of 13 weeks ago. I want it to be in the top 25%. So it's got to be 75 out of 100 or greater. So now if I click totals, you'll see that out of the 1,956 stocks, it's allowing 490 to pass. That's exactly what we want. Go ahead and hit backtest over the last 5 years. I just want to see first if this simple momentum filter, what it does. What does it look like? Just backtesting that. Okay, nothing too interesting to see there. So now we've got another decision to make. How do we incorporate momentum and value together? Again, we've got so many options. You could do something like making a rule saying you want the price to earnings ratio. Price, don't even know if this will work. PE, yep, we get a bunch of options. The price to earnings excluding extraordinary items, let me just pick that. For the last 12 months, I want it to be less than 10, let's say. So that's one way that you could design this. Wow, what a terrible idea that was. It didn't work out well for some reason. But instead of looking into why, I'm just going to erase it and show you another system or another way that you can design this. So we have our stocks. We have our, how many was there? Roughly 500 stocks that are considered to be high momentum over the last 3 months. Now we're going to go to settings, and under the ranking tab, select quick rank. Now what this does is it lets us put in any formula we want, and we can say how many stocks we want to keep based on that formula. So for example, I want, let's just use the same one, price to earnings excluding extraordinary items, trailing 12 months, lower is better. I want low PE for value. Now, if I go ahead and click Run Backtest, absolutely nothing is going to happen beyond the momentum filter. And that's because I'm ranking stocks based on this formula, and I have to say how many stocks do I want to keep based on this formula. So let's say I want to keep 20 stocks. Now we could say of the roughly 500 stocks that have high momentum, of those, I want to keep the 20 stocks that have the lowest price to earnings ratio. Okay, so again, this isn't a wonderful, fantastic idea over the last 5 years, but it just shows you how to design it. Now, there's all kinds of other ways that you could design this value momentum strategy. Let's just take this out, and instead, we're going to put the close. We're going to put the momentum filter in here, and over here, we're going to say our price to earnings ratio, we just want it less than 15. So of stocks that have a PE ratio of less than 15, we have 536 that pass. And of those, we're going to pick the 20 that have the, whoops, see, I just about made a mistake there. Under method lower is better, I was going to screen for stocks with low momentum. Just notice what happens here. Yeah, actually, it's not terrible. Looking for a little bounce back. So, but instead, I wanted a high momentum strategy, not a low one. So higher is better. So based on this formula, I want the 20 stocks that have the highest price momentum based on a low PE ratio. Okay, now this is a terrible idea. Why is that? I thought that high momentum was good. It's true that momentum in general can be a good idea, but what we're seeing here is that stocks with the highest momentum, maybe we're looking at stocks that have went up 100%, 200% over the last 3 months. Well, they're going to pull back. They're going to revert. So we're learning something already. Momentum can be a valid and good concept in general, but stocks that have the absolute highest momentum may be prone to pullbacks and falling back down because they moved up too high, too fast. Well, we can change this. We could say maybe we want 50 stocks, and instead we're going to do it over the last roughly trading year. 52 weeks or 252 trading days. And so it's a little bit more reasonable with what we would expect. All right, so that is your first value momentum screen. Just remember to hit save. And also just go ahead and play with it. You want to change the rebalance frequency. You want to change the time period. You can change it 10 stocks. You can find other ways of defining momentum, value. For instance, maybe here you want to use it as a formula. And as you look through, maybe you find, earnings yield might be a better one to use instead. So let's just go ahead and use earning. Got to use the right way to spell it here. Our formula rank, earn yield, I want it to be in the upper 90%. And I want this to be over the last, whatever you want, 135 days. Okay, and just play around, just to get a feel for how these different parameters work. And meet me back here in just a minute. That's getting a little more interesting.